Turn around, bright eyes. All right, we're live. Let's do it.
Turn that volume up.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Gun News Weekly. We are live. We got stories from all over. South Carolina, Florida, Illinois, Alabama, Wisconsin, New York City. And Casey, we're going to talk about Chief Keef.
New York City?
You know about Chief Keef?
I know about Keef. He's from Chicago, man.
Hey, you do know about Chief Keef. We're going to talk about
Straight
it.
up trap rapper.
We got some stories about him tonight. What up? What's up, Jay? What's up, everybody over on Facebook? Hold on. Stand by. I got to turn that off. What's up, everybody in the chat over on YouTube? Ross is in there. Shout out to Razor JB. Appreciate the help last week. Shout out to everybody else that's in there. Griff, Boom Outdoors, Tactical Plumbers in the house. Rich the Clans in the house. The Blind Shooter.
We're going to shorten that shit to the crew.
And Will. What's up to the crew?
The crew.
You got it. They're in there. And Ross is here. What's up, Ross?
What's happening, brother? Glad to be here. It's been a crazy day, but man, I tell you, I look forward to these Thursday nights every Thursday night. Glad to be here.
Cool. We got someone checking in from Venice Beach, and I guarantee you there's more pull-ups being done in Venice Beach in that time that Ross introduced himself versus the four of us, like maybe in the last week. What's up, Casey?
Last 38 years.
No pull-ups? No climbing the rope and dinging the bell for you?
A few pull-outs, but no pull-ups.
Touche. What's up? What's up? Googler's in the house. He's going to keep us straight. Do a little research along the way if we need it. What's up, brother?
Not much.
Good to have you around. And again, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Please share this with your friends and make sure you check out Gun News Weekly and check out guncarrier.com along with the American Gun Association. We'll be talking about that stuff along the ways and keeping you up to date. But let's get started with some stories. Story of the day, and there's still something going on, is once again overseas. Barcelona, 50 wounded, many injured. Stand by. Having that issue again all of a sudden with my pressure. Don't know why. I hope I don't have to reset, guys. I might have to. Hold on.
Wah, wah, wah.
Reset. We're still live, right?
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. It looks like tax out. Oh man, another one of those nights.
Hey, we did it justice though, Ross.
I think we did all right. Yeah. Although I got to tell you, Casey, I'm not up on the stories we were going to talk about tonight, but
We'll just make our own.
yeah, with what's going on within the world, it won't be hard to come up with something. There he is.
You know what happened?
Yeah, I do know what happened. We know what happened.
Government.
Total eclipse of the heart.
Total eclipse of the heart.
Of the heart.
Turn around, bright eyes. All right. Anyway, 50 wounded and at least 13 dead, and which is now becoming the weapon of choice by terrorists in Europe. It looks like this is the third one in some time where a vehicle was used. A crowded pedestrian area with both citizens and many tourists was targeted, and that just went down. And apparently they haven't got the driver yet. They have two other people in custody, and just 100 and some kilometers away, there's another situation going on, which may or may not be involved. We don't know.
You know, the reason we bring this up, Kevin, is to highlight the fact that it does not matter if you take away people's right to bear arms. Crazy people will continue to kill people.
The other reason I want to bring this up, Ross, because again, it's not really a gun story because no one's been shot and killed, is that situational awareness.
Absolutely.
You got to keep your head on a swivel if you're in a place where attacks could happen. You know,
honestly, that should be the first weapon you deploy is your situational awareness.
Remember that one at nighttime was it the beach resort? Was it Nice or something like that, where that beachside one went down, where the guy took the box truck and went through all those people? This one looks just as bad. I mean, there's people strewn across many city blocks.
Vehicles are powerful, man. Think of the kinetic energy right there, just because of the weight involved. You know what I mean?
Witnesses
Much
are
more
saying
deadly than a gun.
Sounded like he gunned it. Sounded like he was going at least 50 miles an hour. Yeah, let's watch a little bit of this video.
Screams, panic, sirens. Victims lying on the ground, bystanders shocked and confused as to what to do to help. The familiar aftermath of a terrorist attack with a vehicle weaponized to kill pedestrians. We've blurred the images of the casualties, but there were many. It looks as if some have been thrown into market stalls by the force of the impact. It appears the white van may have traveled several hundred meters along the city's most popular thoroughfare before finally coming to a halt. Any thought that this could simply be a road traffic accident ended with the sight of armed police swarming through the area looking for suspects. It was late afternoon and the historic Las Ramblas district was packed as usual with locals and tourists. The central strip is pedestrianized, but cars are permitted to travel either side. As the dead and injured lay where they'd been hit, those who'd had a narrow escape tried to get to safety.
All of a sudden, sort of heard a crashing noise, and the whole street just started to run, screaming. I saw a woman next to me screaming for her kids. Police were very, very quickly there. Police officers with guns, vans everywhere, and then the whole street started getting pushed back. You could see like chaos at the top, like just cars, etc. And couldn't tell what was happening. And then a shopkeeper who was running down this way, the police officers who got there just started screaming at people to move back, move back.
So I think you can see chaos ensued. You know, terrorists are able to do that kind of stuff when they commit and have a plan. It sounds like they were looking for an escape car, et cetera, as the more I'm reading. But something's still going on.
It also looked like they modified that truck to do the most damage to civilians.
Again, I think just the choice of a truck, Ross, is one of those things.
Yeah, the choice of the truck. It doesn't matter what the weapon is. You know what I mean? You can create terror with a butter knife if you got an unarmed population. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, again, took the distraction of most of the mainstream news away from other issues that we're not going to even touch tonight. Believe it or not, somewhat intentionally. We saw this one last week, and we all gave one of those crook necks to it when we saw it because we thought it was odd, and it turns out that it definitely is a joke. And Walmart has responded, and I'll give you their response, but you can see what's happened. They said basically, yeah, this is something that was unintended. Someone went and took a picture and got it out on social media over a bunch of guns that someone took one of their other signs from somewhere else in the store where it says, "Own the school year like a hero."
If you look back behind there, Kevin, it looks like they've got binders back there, like school binders back behind that picture.
Is the chick who sang Eclipse of the Heart the same as the one who sang Like a Hero? I need a hero. That one? Is it the same person?
What another great song. I don't know. That'd be a good thing for the Googler to look up.
Can you play either of those on the guitar for us later?
Negative.
All right, so anyway.
Up, but, probably not now.
So the other story that we wrapped up last week, but continues, is the SIG P320 voluntary upgrade now, and they've ceased shipping out that model from the factory until they do a mandatory, again, voluntary upgrade. The question in an article over on The Truth About Guns is, how much does it cost?
Well, and why in the hell is it voluntary?
If you do the math on how many they've sold, how much it's going to cost for parts per pistol, the turnaround cost for shipping, labor, assuming that they get about 200,000 of those guns back, $50 a gun, it's about $10 million mistake.
I heard they were sending the parts out, that it wasn't being done at the factory, that they were sending the kits to the customers.
Not that, no. You got to send it in. Everything that I've seen says you got to send it in. It's voluntary, but you have to send it to them.
Right. Voluntary.
Well, and again, if you look at it, that's a $10 million estimate, plus all the people who are not buying a SIG because they read something in their feed somewhere along the last couple of weeks and decided when they went to buy that gun this week that they're going to get a different model, different brand.
It could hurt them. But those SIG, the guys that like SIG are pretty stuck on SIG.
I got something else for you here. Anonymous sources tell the truth about guns, anonymous sources, never, I hate this shit, that SIG is considering. So there's anonymous people that may or may not be talking to people that think that someone may be considering reducing its cost by sending armorers into the field to do the repairs. So stand by on that stuff.
Holy crap, that dude just got really busy.
Now we got one for you in Oregon. The Oregon governor has signed a gun confiscation bill into law. We've been talking about this very topic, this very subset of what's going on out there legislatively. The law is SB 719A. It allows police or a member of the subject's family or household to file a petition with the court, which could lead to an order prohibiting firearms possession if it is believed that they pose a risk, an imminent risk to themselves or others. The bill passed the Senate in May. We talked about it then. And the House last month, where we mentioned it, we didn't realize it was going to get signed, but it did. They say that it's, quote, the best way to ensure that a person who is at risk of harming themselves or others is identified while still ensuring their rights are protected by a court review.
So slippery, man. And this ties into everything that's going on right now. Anybody, today it may go one way, but tomorrow it will go the next. You know what I mean? They're siding with public opinion is what they're doing. They're not looking at people's right to protect themselves. You know what I mean? Who's to say that Joe down the street is crazy? Define it. And then define it 5 years from now. And then define it 10 years from now. And that's going to change, man. I find these laws to be extremely offensive.
Well, you know, Moms Demand Action has issued a statement on this subject.
Oh, God, of course.
It's quote, a common sense bill that will empower families and law enforcement officers to take action to potentially prevent tragedies before they happen. That will help save lives, unquote.
Yeah, we just saw a story where multiple people were killed with a truck. How did gun control help those folks?
What's up, Ty? I hope you're doing well. By allowing a law enforcement officer, a family member, or a house member to seek this process, it would allow. And again, these are people that are not mental health professionals.
Of course.
They may be mistaken. They could be wrong. They may only have minimal contact. They may hear one thing. Gosh, Ross, can you imagine if our parents acted if they just heard one little segment of a conversation?
Dude, the abuse that can happen with something like that, just a few abuses outweigh any potential good that could come from that law. Just a few abuses would outweigh that.
The filing of fake orders can get you 1 year in jail or a fine of up to $6,250 or both.
Yeah, it's sad. You know, again, I think we're in the final throes of this. I think we're on the backside of this pendulum swing, right? So we've just been in the last 8 years of some really tight, you know, ever increasing gun restrictions. And I think we're going to start seeing that fade off. But until it dies, man, we really need to be aware of stuff like this and really fight against it, because as you saw in the last article, it does nothing to stop people intent on killing people from killing people, whether it be by truck, by gun, or by other means, right? That truck took out how many people, Kevin? What was the total number of killed?
50 injured and 13 killed as of right now. You know
what gun attack took out that many recently? You know what I mean? Orlando maybe, but I don't even think that many people died in Orlando.
The pulse thing.
Yeah.
I don't mean to belittle it by calling it the pulse thing, the pulse shooting.
There's no belittling any of that.
Well, here's the thing, Ross, and you mentioned, you know, this is not the law was modeled on the law that happened in Washington State. And that was a huge investment of money by gun control groups to get that one done. And that was based on the 2014 California law that does the same. So now you've got this little section of the country that has clearly stated, we think that if someone thinks that you have a problem, they have the right to take your gun so that you can then not. And again, for anyone that's tuning in for the first time over on Gun Carrier or American Gun Association, or checking out the channel for the first time, or is just checking us out, this all goes back to the fact that it takes away that person's right to defend themselves. Just because someone else says you have a problem, that then gives the cops the right to go take your gun, and you live in a shitty neighborhood, or you're a nurse that has to get into your car late at night and in a parking lot and drive home by yourself, or whatever the case may be.
Dude, your leftist neighbor would take your guns in a heartbeat. They would lie. They would come up with some idea. This is crazy, dude. And I think it's not only crazy for that side, but remember, the pendulum is going to go the other way just as far as it went this way. The flip side of that's nuts, man.
Well, hold on. The American Bar Association supports gun violence restraining orders. They approved a resolution on Tuesday to support the whole thing, despite opposition. They passed a resolution called 118B in the House of Delegates and encouraged state and local governments to enact laws allowing courts to issue restraining orders that would require law enforcement to seize guns from the subjects of those orders. This is according to the ABA Journal.
It's disgusting. It's a disgusting breach of a God-given right.
This one is those seeking a restraining order would have to require they be required to submit evidence that the targeted individual posed a serious threat to himself or others, and that a procedure must be set in place for the seizure of guns and ammunition.
You know who can't own guns? Felons. Felons can't own guns.
In America, felons are not supposed to own guns yet.
And guess what else?
They do.
We are innocent until proven guilty. Proven guilty. And if you're proven guilty on a charge and it's a felony, okay, they've got that far. But I'm not willing to let our government take that toll on us. Who's to say without trial, without a conviction, that guy's guilty of whatever crime he's been accused of, enough so that they can take his weapons? I think it's ridiculous, man. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
There's a lot of people that testified on behalf of the support for this whole thing, Ross, including people from Newtown, where it was stated here, and again, I'd have to see this, but it says that a Connecticut gun seizure law had been used 762 times to seize firearms, and it saved lives in the process. I don't think they ever talk about how many times, again, those people that own guns that are able to defend themselves at home or just by brandishing or whatever the case may be. A very, very troubling time.
It's an extreme overreach. And really, as advocates in the community, we should be taking a stance against that, because who's the judge and jury there? You know what I mean? I mean, we have a judge and jury system, right? Why not let that take place?
Well, that'll be the interesting thing, is who brings up the complaint or the restraining order, and do reasonable minds look at those things and put their eyes and hands on it?
Dude, Shannon Watts has you in her sights right now. Because all the power, all
the beautiful
time you give her, she's looking at you, and if something like that passes in your state, I guarantee she's got a claim against you, and they're going to come and get all your guns, dude.
She's demanding
to say they can't.
I'd love to have a one-on-one debate with her anytime, and anytime.
Yeah, you would.
Throw it out there. Yeah,
she's demanding action, Kev.
We would debate her demanding action. There's no two ways about it. And I must say that I would prove to her my incredible melodic skills. As we pointed out, the fact checker, Googler has pointed out that Bonnie Tyler, yes, indeed, did sing Total Eclipse of the Heart and I Need a Hero.
Huh.
That's that old DJ stuff coming back.
Yeah. And that speak about saving lives. Oh, we took all these guns and it saved
Ross
lives.
isn't done. Listen to him. He's just like still
bullshit. How in the hell could you how could you say that if nothing happened?
Hey, watch your language. Isn't your mother in the house?
You got a crystal ball? I want to see your crystal ball.
Is your mother in the house?
Shit pisses me off. I'm sorry. Language, right.
Is my crystal ball.
Man, God, just irritates the crap out of me. It's they call it common sense, but it's the furthest from it.
Yeah. All right. Well, and then we've got a bunch of stories to get to, and I didn't realize we were already this late into the hour. Armed citizen holds stabbing suspect at gunpoint. I'm going to start that one all over because I just can't.
I didn't even catch all that.
All right, good. Armed citizen holds See now. Bobby Martin Watson, an armed citizen,
Held?
God damn, man. Holds is what they say on the thing. Armed citizen holds stabbing suspect at gunpoint until police arrive. Put that in your. Authorities credit the actions of 2 Good Samaritans, including one who was legally armed with a gun, in helping to apprehend a suspect who stabbed 3 people during an attack in a parking lot in Seminole, Florida, at a grocery store last week. No shots were fired during the August 6th altercation, and the injuries sustained by all 3 stabbing victims were not life-threatening, according to press releases from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. It was about 12:40 in the afternoon, and the first victim, Rosanna Lynn, 44, was in her vehicle in the Publix parking lot. This guy, Bobby Martin Watson, armed with a knife, approached her vehicle, opened the driver door, reached across her body to grab her purse. She fought back, got stabbed. Another guy was in the parking lot, Chris McMahon. He went to her aid after witnessing the attack. As he tried to help, he got stabbed in the upper back, and then he fled on foot. 2 other men, Travis Jones and Donald Rush, 40, realized what was happening and intervened. Jones chased after Watson. Rush retrieved a handgun from his vehicle, pursued Watson. They caught the suspect, tackled him to the ground, disarmed him, and he was held at gunpoint, and there's photos of that until the deputies arrived a little bit later.
With 40 million gun owners and concealed carry permit holders in the state of Florida, where the hell was somebody?
We got 1.5 million.
Yeah, I know. I was exaggerating a bit, but still, man, where the hell was somebody with a gun?
That guy's going to jail. 3 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, armed robbery. He's in bed. He's in trouble. They were all transported to a local. No, they were all transported. None of the injuries are life-threatening. They all will recover from those.
Yeah, knife's no joke, man. It's a.
By the way, I nailed it.
Weapon.
After all those bloopers, I nailed it, just for the record.
Yeah, you did. Killed it.
The body camera video that helps put an attempt murderer behind bars in South Carolina. A $30 pair of camera glasses worn by the cop helped convict a South Carolina man who was sentenced Wednesday to 35 years behind bars after he shot a police officer 4 times. Did you guys see this video?
I did see this video. Officer thought he was going to die on the scene.
No, I hadn't seen no.
I'll share a little bit of it. The guy straight up ignores every single order from him. And then when I think he realizes that he's going to get tased, that's when he complies. Let me get it a little bit ahead here. Stand by.
Okay. Come here. Stop. Stop. Stop.
He's got the phone in one hand and he's got his hand in the pocket in the other hand of a big, huge, jacket.
Out your pocket. Take your hands out your pocket. If you don't stop, I'm gonna tase you. I'm not playing with you. Take your hands out. Take your hands out your pocket. Take your hands.
I mean, he's yelling at him, Ross. Casey, you see this? He's right up on him. Guy still has his hand in his pocket, not complying. And then all of a sudden, oops, pulls that gun. You can see that he's pointing it at him right there and starts shooting. And Googler's mad at me because I don't have an ad block up. Pop-up block up. It takes 2 seconds. So anyway, a $30 pair of camera glasses is what this guy had on. And I think that's another good case for all officers having video equipment on them.
Now, I had heard that this cop bought those himself. Can you confirm that, Googler? That the officer actually paid for his cameras himself? Of course, they're eyeglass cameras, but
so what was the outcome of that?
4 shots hit him out of 8. But he survived.
Did he have a vest on?
I'm sure he did.
He did not think he was making it out of there, Casey. From the reports that I heard, he pretty much knew that was his last day on Earth. So
it was getting hard to breathe. He said he could hardly breathe. Please hurry with the ambulance.
Dude, you can imagine the mental trauma, and I'm not big on the whole mental trauma thing, but when you think you're going to die, that's a whole different ball game.
Oh yeah, I've been there once.
He purchased them himself.
Sorry.
And dude, with the jacket that thick, that came out of the chat, with the jacket that thick, you think that taser did anything?
That's what I was thinking. I was wondering, and I hadn't seen the video. Obviously, I knew some shit was going to go down. But I was wondering why, with so many orders that were not followed, I was wondering why he didn't have him at gunpoint as opposed to at taser point or whatever you call it.
Googler's confirming that they were purchased online.
Yeah.
And the officer did buy them.
Googler, can we get the website they were purchased? I'm kidding.
Yeah, them are pretty good glasses.
1:30. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Make sure you check out everydaycarrylife.com, tacdaddylife.com, not tacdaddylife, tacdaddy.com. Just one or two more weeks when we talk about that website on the show here. And make sure you check out guncarrier.com. Go over and check out the American Gun Association. Join that thing when you can. And thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. Now we got some stories. Question of the day. And apparently this video is like 12 minutes long. Ladies,
Oof.
Why you should let your man buy guns. The question of the day, quote, does your significant other let you buy guns?
Hang on a second. I need to go get my wife.
Are you allowed to buy guns, Ross?
No comment.
Putting sexist assumptions aside, what arguments do you use? They ask a bunch of questions in here, but apparently God, family, and guns assume that heterosexual male gun buyers have to get permission from their wife, girlfriend, significant other to purchase a firearm. Yeah, I can't relate to that. I just can't.
No comment.
All right. Study claims drivers are more aggressive with a gun in their car. I don't think that's the case in my world.
I disagree.
There's a study being published in the November edition of the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology titled The Weapon's Effect on Wheels. Motorists drive more aggressively when there's a gun in the vehicle. In the experiment, participants were randomly assigned to drive with a frustrating driving scenario with a gun or a tennis racket in the vehicle's passenger seat. Okay, so they just came up with some random shit and came to the conclusion that people are going to grab the gun. I mean, you gave them the option. It's not like it was their choice to be a sound-minded gun owner and get training and know the rules and obey them every day. You're doing some experiment where you're giving people an option to do different things. It's an unlocked black airsoft training pistol on the passenger seat, what looks like a real 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The other half found a tennis racket.
I don't know.
They were more likely to tailgate. They were more likely to tailgate when there was a gun in the passenger seat as opposed to the tennis racket. The presence of the gun increased speeding regardless of a frustrating event.
Oh, that's bullshit. Yeah, because we want to confront the cops with our guns.
It renders the study pretty worthless. Again, it's silliness. It's silliness, but it's something that's coming out in a study very soon.
Who did this study?
I'll send you the link.
My neighbor Bill.
No. The Journal of Experimental Social Psychology.
My neighbor Bill, the hardcore leftist. That's who did it.
It's a second reference to lefties.
Sorry, I don't mean to go that route. I love everybody.
I know you do, but lawmakers in the Ohio legislature have revived a stand your ground gun bill that would allow gun owners to use deadly force in self-defense and eliminate the duty to retreat before using force. We talked about this thing going on in Florida, and so now we're in Ohio as well. It was introduced Tuesday, expand the areas in which people can use force for self-defense. We'll see where this goes. House Bill 228 has 36 sponsors and would reduce to minor misdemeanors certain concealed carry offenses so long the individual did not commit another offense while carrying the firearm.
God, if you don't commit a crime, why should it be a crime to carry a firearm? If you don't commit a crime.
Airports, K through 12 public and private schools, prisons, courthouses, and other buildings. Prisons, I think if you're going to prison, I think that might be one place that I actually agree that when you go through a certain secure area that you disarm yourself. I actually do agree with that one. Because if you're going there and you chose to go there for some reason, that's not like a public space where you should expect. That's like the one spot.
Which spot?
Is the chat going to blow me up because I'm saying you shouldn't be able to carry a gun in jail? Because I don't think it's a smart idea.
If you're mingling with the prisoners, yeah, I could see that. If you're
all right, in the chat, if you think that you should be able to carry a gun to jail when you go to visit somebody, type in a 1. If you think you should not, type in a 2.
That is the dumbest question ever.
It is the stupidest. Of course, you should be able to carry a gun in jail unless you're
What?
in.
What?
No.
What?
No.
Ross is alone.
I'll stand by my decision.
I'd be alone. How many 2s?
Unless I'm going behind the bars, there is no reason to take it from me. Not one.
No. You're going into again, general public. You're going to the mess hall. You're going to general population.
And
you're going to an area. You're going into an area where there are prisoners and then actual guards that are doing their job.
That's different. That's stupid. Of course not.
Why would you be there unless you're work at the jail?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
to visit somebody.
To see your kids at school and eating lunch.
You ain't allowed to go in the mess hall at the penitentiary.
It's not eat with the prisoner day.
Yeah, they don't sponsor that shit.
All right.
That's nuts.
Don't take your guns to jail. We'll move on. Florida.
Take them. That's what I said.
At one point, we'll be hosting a show and I'll be living in another state. Because if we do another 4 or 5 years, I don't think I'll be in Florida forever. Because Florida man pulls a gun to try and prove a point at a self-defense class. Florida man has been arrested.
I had to train with my gun.
No, this one's good. This is rich. A Florida man has been arrested for pulling a gun on a martial arts instructor to try and prove a point about self-defense and firearms during a class in nearby Port St. Lucie. Martial arts instructor Christopher La Sala was teaching a self-defense class at the Gracie Christian Academy Sunday night when one parent asked about using guns. He replied that guns aren't always the right choice for self-defense. This didn't sit well with 61-year-old George Meyer. I'm going to share a picture.
Oh, God.
Share a picture of George for you. Here's George.
The hell it don't, boy.
George did not like that answer at all. And he said martial arts are useless, and then he proceeded to pull out his handgun, pointed it at LaSala and said, "Bang, you're dead." He walked to his chair. He made sure everyone knew that his gun was locked and loaded and ready to fire. LaSala reported to the local news. So LaSala snuck out of the class, called the cops, and alerted the school administration. A police spokesman from Port St. Lucie said, "If you want to have a discussion or a debate about martial arts and firearms, then, well, you talk about it. You don't have to, especially it's illegal, to pull out a gun and point it at somebody to make a point." They arrested him at his residence, seized his handgun, and Mr. Meyer claims that he pulled the gun but didn't point it at anyone. I'm sure there's witnesses. He caught charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill and other gun-related charges, including concealed carry firearms carry the concealed firearm without a permit.
This is
So
what
there
I
you
like
go,
about
Ross.
natural selection. Always seems to find those guys. You know what I mean? Now,
Well,
he
here's where
probably
it's
won't be able to. He won't ever be able to legally get a firearm, carry a firearm again.
Well, here's the interesting part. After he was released on bond, he reportedly returned to the school Monday afternoon and was cited for trespassing. I bet you they like dropped him and put him in a rear naked choke and called the cops.
Martial arts, that's bullshit.
I'm 61. Man, you're dead. That's quick. That's fast. You can't defend that.
21 feet my ass.
Oh. Florida homeowner with AK-47 shoots at teen burglars breaking into his car.
Woof.
Panama City Beach, early Sunday morning, where 3 teen burglars were met by the homeowner who was armed with an AK. He was thankful. I'm sorry. The sheriff's office said, "We're thankful that the homeowners in this incident are safe and that we got these suspects behind bars as quick as we could." Cruz called it a job well done and noted that the burglaries and the, quote, danger that comes with it will not be tolerated. 2:45 a.m. Homeowner's wife is awakened by noises. She then wakes her husband, who looks outside and observes 3 suspects breaking into all the family vehicles. He knew a 9mm handgun was in one of the vehicles. Something to talk about. He told his wife to watch over their children and ensure their safety as he grabbed his AK-47, his chopper. Shout out to the chopper lovers. And confronted the suspect. They fled to a nearby getaway vehicle, but the homeowner said one of the suspects turned toward him in a manner that led the homeowner to believe that he had a weapon. The homeowner, in turn, fired his weapon. He struck the kid in the leg, and the gunshots left the getaway's car window shattered and at least one flat tire.
Holy shit.
Deputies responding to a 911 call came upon the getaway vehicle, which was occupied by all 3 suspects. They dropped a small bag of marijuana as they got out of the car. Deputies said that they didn't listen to them, and they appeared to be under the influence. They were all detained. It was revealed that the guy had been shot. They found 2 handguns in the car, including the 9 stolen from the property.
Woof.
This was a 19-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 15-year-old.
None of them legally owned guns.
All 3 of them charged with grand theft auto of a firearm, 2 counts of burglary of a dwelling, structure or conveyance, obstruction, justice, tampering and felony first-degree proceeding, and they also got the pot possession.
Can you imagine being on the wrong side of that AK and the sheer terror that all of them felt the minute that round let loose? Holy crap.
Pop, pop, pop.
Fuck, dude. I'm surprised they didn't come out of it with their ears bleeding.
We're going to talk about Chief Keef in a minute, but there's someone else from Chicago we need to talk about. He's known as Batman. Batman got 7 years.
Not like a vigilante.
Batman got 7 years for selling over 75 guns.
Oh.
Are you drinking a Capri Sun?
I was going to say, shout out to Capri Sun. Juice box in the house. Hey, a juice box guy.
Did you open that and look for mold?
What?
Never mind.
Sentenced to 7 years in prison for illegally brokering the sale of 75 guns. Batman was involved in 23 transactions. 77 guns were sold. He's 33 years old, known as Batman. He's pleaded guilty. He said that he would either purchase the firearms himself and then sell them to other individuals, or would arrange illegal gun sales in exchange for a fee. Some of the people he sold the guns to were working for law enforcement, and he was also not allowed to have a guns because
he's a felon.
He's a convicted felon.
Go figure. So a guy who shouldn't have guns had a bunch of guns and was selling them to a bunch of other guys that couldn't have guns, and a couple of cops found a few or got a few.
And got 100 guns off the street during.
I'm telling you, though, this new bill they're putting out is going to fix that, though. Ross.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Chicago man claims self-defense in the deadly shooting of 5:30 p.m. Just a couple blocks away from the Chicago Skyway. He's in his 30s. He lives in his home with his parents. He told the police that he fired at the trio after they broke into the basement of his house. He then locked himself in another room and called the cops. All three suspects were pronounced dead at the scene and later identified as 17-year-old, 22-year-old, and a 24-year-old woman, some of whose identities have not been released.
Huh. What was he doing hiding in the other room if he took them all three out?
The medical examiner office determined that one was shot in the head and the other one was died from multiple gunshot wounds. No charges have been filed, but it's under investigation as they think that there's some inconsistencies in the story. They said it was hard to get information from him, and they don't really have all the details yet. So maybe it was something different than just three dudes showing up, breaking in.
I feel like I need to make a public service announcement. Like, if you're thinking about doing stupid shit, consider that the home you're about to break into, that guy might own a gun and you might die. Go home and go to bed.
It's crazy. In Alabama, they're taking away 74-year-old doctors' guns. A district judge ruled in that that former Tuscaloosa County sheriff has to reinstate Governor Robert Bentley's concealed carry permit. There was a misdemeanor charge involving campaign finances, and the sheriff suspended the 74-year-old doctor's permit. He said
over campaign finance.
They've stated now that, quote, it did not meet its burden of proving by clear and convincing evidence that the plaintiff, Mr. Bentley, having a concealed carry permit causes a justifiable concern for public safety. They said that they took it because he had not completed the terms of his criminal sentence imposed by a 30-day suspended sentence, community service, and over $50,000 in fines and forfeitures. So they were basically saying he didn't do what you were, told to do by the judge with your conviction. Therefore, we're going to take your permit. He's maintained the permit for over a decade and has completed all of his punishment with the exception of the community service, according to him. So
obviously it wasn't a felony, and he's not being charged for a felony. So he should be able to, he should have the same rights as everybody else, man. Just because he didn't do the community service doesn't make him a felon.
Man, I still can't believe this. Ross, remember when we lived in Madison? It was just this quaint, quiet town that I told you all the time. It was so safe and
the hood,
awesome place to raise the girls and all that. Madison police chief has said enough is enough with the gun violence. He said in a blog post on Wednesday that he's seen a 75% increase in shots fired calls so far this year and a record number of homicides, 10. They do 10 in Chicago in like a long weekend usually.
Shit, a long weekend in the first 18 minutes of the long weekend.
How far is Chicago from Madison miles-wise?
Not far. I remember flying into Chicago before we would fly into Madison, and it was only like 40-minute flight from Chicago.
He said the rhyme or reasons for this rash of incidents defy logic. They're citywide and occurring at all times of the day. Our sensibilities have been shocked, our anxiety level elevated, our disdain is overwhelming. Our worst fears have been realized. Once again, Madison, Wisconsin is the state government, Oscar Mayer, and 48,000 undergrads going to school every year. 147 miles, 2.5-hour drive. So not that far away, yet again, and very just like Midwestern, stereotypical Midwestern town. We had the store there, and they'd have football games down at Camp Randall Stadium, and people would go out and be drinking, and there was never problems.
Yeah, but Kevin, over time, that danger bubble grows. You know what I mean? The sphere of all that violence grows, and it's now hitting 200 miles away into Madison. It's all emanates from that crime wave, dude.
Well, and if you're in Madison and you're liberal and you think that, just because things are the way they are and that they'll always stay the same, you really there's a huge hunting community there. So I don't really think there's as few gun owners as a lot of people think, because it's known as the liberal place of Wisconsin. It's, where the school is and where the government is. So that's where all the pot rallies were back in the day, and they still do a bunch of real very, very left-wing stuff over there. But there's a lot of hunting. I remember, all kinds of stories about that.
The gangs don't care about the hunters. The gangs come in, that sphere grows. They find housing in Madison, dude, and you got a problem.
We played that John Stossel thing about gun owners getting jailed because they had the magazine and they had her legal gun, when she was traveling. He's got a new one up. We're not going to show it because I think that's what got us blocked somewhere.
We got blocked last week?
On one spot, they gave me a warning about using, copyrighted material, even though we said it and everything. But anyway, he went to go get a permit because in New York City, they're not renewing concealed carry permits, and there's no reason being given. Bum, bum, bum.
New York has a propensity to harass American citizens for no good reason other than they don't share their same opinion on guns. It's really absurd, man.
It's deeper than that. The sub-department that issues the permits has been fraught with scandal, one right after another. Several higher-ups have been indicted for accepting bribes to issue permits. Corruption is rampant, known, and decades old.
Huh. Yeah, go figure. Government's involved and there's corruption. I'm shocked.
So many New York City permit holders, including several people that this guy knows and talks about it. John Farnham actually wrote this article to AmmoLand. He said many of his students have received letters indicating that their city-issued CCW permits will not be renewed, no reason given, no wrongdoing, real or imagined, on the part of the disenfranchised CCW permit holders.
It's an atrocity.
Their precipitous castration is completely arbitrary. It's an atrocity.
I felt a little ouch.
Once again, there's that section over on the one coast, and there's this area over on the other coast that seem to think that they should just regulate you away from the ability to defend yourself and your family.
At the end of the day, Kevin, it's communism. I mean, I'm not going to get political on this show, but that's when your government decides what's best for you, then you're not in control of your life. And again, man, I hearken back to all these stories about vehicles being used to kill people in places that guns aren't readily available. It doesn't save people's lives. As a matter of fact, in this case, if there had been a good guy with a gun and he was using a gun, maybe he wouldn't have killed 15 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seems to me that the states that allow this stuff, the people in those states need to wake up and start understanding that their life is on the line. These guys don't care about their lives. They individually care about their lives. The government doesn't care about their life collectively. They want your money. They want to pocket 90% of it and use 10%. And they need to wake up and start fighting these guys and stop voting these people into office.
Well, check this out. Over in South Africa, they've got stringent laws, but gun-related murder rate is high. There's a bunch of stories talking about the fact that they feel like there is a full-on government-regulated thing to keep black people from owning guns. 40,000 permits have been denied in like a 5-year period. If you want to see this article, go check it out. And there's an actual little video that goes with it as well. This is over on truthaboutguns.com. But that's another spot, Ross, where, again, a total another country where it's just different.
Yep. You can't compare other countries to this country anyway, dude. This country is unique in the respect that we should all have individual rights and individual responsibilities. And in countries that don't have a constitution and don't have that philosophy, they're in a different. It's apples and oranges. You can't compare the two.
True. All right. Back to Chicago. Chief Keef.
Man.
I know you've been ready. He puts down the pistols for paintball guns. According to the Viceland video that's going to drop, I think, very soon. It airs Tuesday. It aired Tuesday, so it's out. It's called The Therapist. He's been known to rap about guns and violence in the Windy City, but recently he admitted that he turned to paintballing in an attempt to distance himself from real firearms. He speaks on his affinity for guns and talks about taking up paintballing as a hobby. He says he loves guns, and the doctor urged him to find a way to legally and safely get involved with firearms instead of continuing to flaunt the misuse of illegally obtained guns that have so negatively affected poor communities in Chicago and other cities throughout the country. He said, quote, "I took it to paintball, and I was doing it every day. I took it serious. I don't think I'll ever have a gun again." I don't know why I tried to be an accent there.
Because paintballs protect you.
He said,
paintball gun's going to save your life. What a moronic thing to say.
He said, the doctor said to him, "Say that part a little louder." And he said, quote, "I'll never have to have a gun again." So he's now down. Back in April, he was arrested in Miami Beach after they found marijuana in his green Lamborghini and charged him with a DUI. He had weed and paraphernalia at the Sioux Falls airport after a June concert. Oh, we talked about this guy.
Yeah.
I know Chief Keef.
Yeah.
I know that I knew Chief Keef because I'm old. I remember the airport thing where he had the weed with him and he was pissed that they busted him. I remember that. Back in January, he was picked up by law enforcement in his Tarzana, California home for allegedly assaulting producer Ramsey the Great. The producer accused Keefe and his crew for breaking into his home, assaulting him with an AK-47, stealing cash, a Rolex, and other items. There's a place in California called Tarzana. That's all I got. All right. And wrapping things up tonight.
Wrap it up.
Take it. So, very cool. Quick visit down to our friends at Tactical Life. They were recently on the Shooter's Mindset show, and we've known those guys forever, Ross. We've seen them in Vegas for years. Yeah. Great guys. And it was funny because we were reminiscing yesterday because the shop is awesome. And we were reminiscing. He said, "Yeah, you remember when it was just T-shirts?" And I was like, "That's right."
T-shirts and stickers.
It was late. You're right. It was T-shirts and stickers back in the day. And now, I think I had that picture. Hold on. Yeah, I'll be picking this up. This we talked about briefly. A little AR pistol job that we've been working on with that Midwest Industries rail, the Faxon Firearms 7-inch barrel, Faxon's muzzle brake. But that is a Tactical Life lower, Ross, with all their parts, and the VZ grip from VZ. So I've had a bunch of stuff, put it all together, and then that's that PDW collapsible stock from SB Tactical. So that pistol should end up being about that big. Wow, hold on.
This is the year for pistols, is it not?
Should be badass, and I'm going to put some sort of great optic on it. I'm not too sure yet, and then I'm going to run that sucker. And report back, but also very excited. Not the first time we've seen this. You remember the first time we were sitting next to each other when we first saw the can of whoop ass and the Dolos.
Oh yeah, and this is even smaller.
We sat there and played with it, and we're like, "Wow, that's really." So what they've done is they've actually perfected it. They've got the arm brace that collapsed properly. They've got the right size. They've got the right muzzle brake. They've got this thing dialed, and they're selling them as a package, but we don't talk about prices and stuff on these live chats. But go over and check out tacticallife.net and check out this quick video so you can see what I'm excited about. Shout out to Anthony and guys over at Tactical Life. Everybody, we're live with the American Gun Association. I'm Kevin. I'm here with Anthony Crispy from Tactical Life. It's a boutique shop here in Davie, Florida. They specialize in AR-15s, and they've got something pretty cool I wanted to show you. Anthony, let's flip this around and what you got there. This is your baby, so to speak. The baby. So take down AR pistol. There we go. Comes in the back. Click the plug. Ready to roll. Wow, check that out. It's that easy. Goes down just as fast. And it fits right in that little bag. Goes right back in the bag. That's about as concealed as an AR-15 pistol you can get right there. Check out tacticallife.net on the internet and on Facebook today. And stay tuned to the American Gun Association. We'll be doing more quick check-ins from gun stores around the country soon. Anthony, thanks again, bro. No problem, man. So there you go.
So I'm just going to mention that the can of whoop ass was cool, but I couldn't see carrying an ammo can around on the streets. This piece I could see carrying around on the streets in in that small bag, and be completely functional, completely concealed, and completely unnoticeable.
And pretty badass. What I'm excited about, Ross, is I may or may not have one with me at Big 3, and we may or may not throw on a great optic and try to really see what that thing can do at range.
That'd be cool.
Awesome.
Not only that, did you know that all you need to do to change it to 300 blackout is just get the different 300 blackout.
Just a barrel.
That's it. And they're clearly
it's an upper and a bolt, right?
No, it's not even the bolt. It's not
300 black.
Literally that part that he attached to it, Ross. There's one that's labeled 300 blackout. You put that one on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to sharing with a bunch of the bigger YouTubers and stuff that are out there that we can share with up at Big 3 soon. Shout out to Brett Hunter and the guys over at Tactical RX. They're in the chat tonight. Shout out to Cam and the guys from Lanzang and Tactical Lanzang. Got some AK videos coming soon.
Chopper.
Dude, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed shooting that AK. I say it a lot, but I love the AK round. I think it is like one of the most fun rounds to shoot.
It is a ton of fun, and that's one of the top 5 reasons you should own an AK pistol. It's fun.
It is so much fun.
And ammo's not that expensive.
It's not expensive, and it's so devastating when you're shooting stuff downrange. You shot that whatever it is you're shooting, you shot it. As opposed to like the 5.56. I have fun with my 5.56. Don't get me wrong, but nothing sparks the steels like the 7.62 by 39.
We're clear on Facebook. I guess they shut it off after an hour now.
No.
Yeah, it's all right. We wrapped it up pretty good. Why are you upset?
I don't know. Facebook seems to do well for us.
That's good. We'll share that one out there. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. As always, thanks to Frank and everyone that supports us. You can help us now. Hook yourself up at the same time. Once again, anybody that watches the show that's interested, here's the story. I told you, I sold the websites. It's only going to be a few more weeks that I'm going to be able to hook up anybody like easily. If you need an optic, if you need something that we sell, if you need some mags, if you need something, just shoot me a message. Hey, we watch Gun News Weekly. I'm interested in this. I'll shoot you a good price because once again, once it's done, it's done. I won't be doing that online retail stuff. I'll be concentrating on the content and the building of Gun Carrier American Gun Association. And that's just part of it.
You got to be honest with folks, dude. You really don't need all the profit. You know what I mean? You can get them some good deals, dude.
Ross, it's never been about that for 4 years, and I just don't shout about it. And the people that have actually spent the minute to pick up the phone or to send me an email and say, hey, this is what I'm looking at. There's 1 or 2 times where they were able to find something on like an Amazon super deal or some shit at a better price than I can get it for.
Yeah, but you're supporting
people that watch the show, man. Even if I make $5 or $10 just to push the order through, we're not doing that to get rich. It was never part of the plan. It was to help sustain things and get us to SHOT Show and all the events where we could report back. But yeah, Windsor, things are great. The changes have been great so far. Gun Carrier's treating us well and doing well with us, and we'll do right by them as well. We appreciate everybody tuning in again to another episode of Gun News Weekly. And Googler, you were kind of quiet tonight, but you helped out in the chat.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. You got I was going to recommend Gold Bond cream, and there you go.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one at that. We'll see you next week, brother. Casey.
Gold Bond. It's like a peppermint patty for your ball sack.
It's about as racy as we get. It's a peppermint patty for your ball sack. Ross. We'll see you next time.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, dude, as usual. Thanks again, guys. Boom. Dan, as always, the whole crew. Thanks for being there. Thanks for contributing to the show. Kevin, another great show, man. Appreciate it.
Was it? I'm not sure, but we guarantee it every week. So hopefully it was cool. If you liked it, please share it with your friends and check us out next week. And definitely as breaking news happens, make sure you're subscribed and you're following the Gun Carrier page, the American Gun Association page, Tac Daddy, Gun News Weekly. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. Have a great week. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.